You're listening to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is the program called The Wonderful World of Wardini Books. And as always, it's our pleasure to have in the studio the wonderfully magnificent Lou.
I love it.
From Wardini Books and Havelock North. How are you going?
I'm going magnificently.
Yeah, well, that's what I love to hear.
Yeah.
We've got 3 more great books to review today. And as always, we start off with a children's book. And it's called The Suitcase.
The Suitcase picture book. By Chris Naylor Ballesteros, and he's clearly done the words and the pictures. And so from the cover, you can see there's a stranger in their midst.
There is.
And there are various expressions on the faces of the animals, not quite welcoming the stranger with his suitcase, or her suitcase. Curiosity and shock and suspicion on the face of that fox.
Such simple drawings, but like you say, they give you that emotion straight away, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely they do. So he rocks up with his suitcase, and they're really not quite sure what to make of this stranger. A strange animal arrived, looking dusty, tired, sad and frightened, and he was pulling a big suitcase. And the animals say, "What's in your suitcase?" And he's like, "Well, importantly, there's a teacup."
Yes.
And they're like, "Oh, that's weird. That's a big suitcase for a little teacup." "Yes, I suppose it is, but there's also a table for my teacup and a wooden chair for me to sit on." And then it goes on, and there's a little kitchen in a wooden cabin where I make my tea. That's my home, and it's all in his suitcase. And the animals are like, "What? What's going on there?"
Yes.
It's on a hillside surrounded by trees, and on a clear day you can see the sea. It's all there in my suitcase. And anyway, he's absolutely exhausted. "I'm sorry, I'm tired, I've been travelling a long time." And he falls asleep. And of course they don't just leave the suitcase alone, they have a big conversation about it. One of them's like, "Oh, we should let him rest, he's exhausted." "Yeah, but we don't know he's telling the truth, we don't trust him," and there's all that. He's a refugee, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
And
Yes.
Maybe we need to know the truth. So they bust into the suitcase, and they break the teacup.
Oh, no.
I know. So you can imagine reading that to little children.
Yes.
Who love certain possessions, and they would understand the heartbreak, I think. And so, oh gosh, what's he going to think of us? And "He lied to us," says the fox, and it's all these different perspectives of what's going on, because there's no wooden cabin in the suitcase, is there? But he's dreaming about his journey while this is happening on. He's come across the sea, and he couldn't believe what the other animals had done when he woken up, because there's the teacup. They've mended it, but they've also, look what they've done.
Oh, look, they've built him a house.
Yeah, they've built him a little wooden cabin that wasn't in his suitcase. And they're like, "But we need something else. We're going to need more teacups."
Oh, so they can come over.
So it's kindness and friendship in the end, when they realise, I think they have this epiphany of what this creature's been through.
Yes.
And I think when you take it away from human beings, and for children, when they see it like that, in a non-human context, it's easier to digest.
I thought the suitcase was going to be a bit like the TARDIS.
And actually have all those things in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Oh, never mind. I won't be reading that one. Anyway, our next one sounds like a bit dangerous. It's called Grenade.
Grenade. It's Alan Gratz, and he writes books for younger people, so I'd put this at sort of an intermediate school age and up. Right, I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. And it's Second World War, and it's from the perspective of Hideki, who is on Okinawa. Do you know your Second World War history?
Yes, a little bit.
This has been very educational for
My
me.
father was in Japan.
Ah, there we are. Mm-hmm. So this would resonate, I think, for you. So Hideki is on Okinawa, and the Japanese, they're not really Japanese, they're Okinawans. But the Japanese are using them as a buffer zone between them and the American forces that are coming through. And then you've got Hideki's story and his perspective, because they're sort of recruited into these camps. He's only about 15, 16, and he's recruited into this school, the Blood and Iron School, and it's all historically accurate. And he's, don't come back until you've killed an American soldier sort of thing. And they'll go out and hide in the caves and are supposed to be fighting the Americans. And then Ray, a young American Marine who's just landed on Okinawa. So you've got his story in alternate chapters. And he's a young man, and he doesn't know what the heck's going on and if he's going to make it out alive. So they're enemies, but they've got similar stories, and that's the whole point of this.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it's called Grenade because when Hideki and his compatriots at the Blood and Iron School are sent out to find and kill Americans, they're just given 2 grenades. That's what they're given. And off you go. They don't know if it's going to blow them up themselves as they go. So really enlightening, absolutely gripping. We've got a lot of kids coming in and saying, right, what else has this bloke written? Because he's written in it's historically accurate, it's exciting and thrilling, and the characters are real and not much older than the kids that are reading it.
No.
So it brings it to life for them.
And I suppose most people don't realise there are always two perspectives to war, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that's it. As we always say, it's always written by the winners.
That's right.
So that's the one that you get, and it's usually the European white view, isn't it?
Yes.
So with this one, you're getting
The other
more
side
of
of the
that.
story,
And,
yeah.
and the same in the Suitcase, you know, in a much for a much simpler audience.
So was The Grenade, was it a sad book, or did it have a good ending?
It's got an interesting ending, again, because of the history thing, and there's a lot of sadness in it, because obviously not everybody gets out alive,
Of course,
do they?
that's
Yeah.
right. Out of 10, what do you rate it?
Yeah, it's a good 9 out of 10, yeah.
Good one.
It's a really good one.
And look at how thick this next one is.
Oh, my
The
goodness.
Absolute book. It is an absolute book.
It
It looks
is an
like about
absolute book.
900 pages in there.
Oh, I never think to check the pagination. 656.
Oh, well, look at that. How wrong could I be?
Well, I don't know, it's still a lot of pages for a book. So this is New Zealand's beloved Elizabeth Knox. I don't know if you remember The Vintner's Luck.
Yes.
And the beautiful film that was made. I love that book. So this is her, and the Absolute book begins as a sort of conventional thriller. We have Taryn, and her sister has been knocked over and killed, and Taryn never thought it was an accident, and the guy was well dodgy, and they caught the guy that knocked over her sister, and he went to prison. Taryn's never recovered from this, ever, and she wants her revenge. So there's an element of that to it. Also, she's obsessed with libraries. She stayed with her grandparents who had a beautiful library, and she has researched libraries throughout history and fires in libraries and how books have been rescued and all that kind of thing. And so you're stumbling along reading the book, thoroughly enjoying it as a conventional, everyday, here and now thriller, and then Elizabeth Knox always does this, and you know it's coming, something else is going on, and there's a parallel world,
Wow.
and conspiracies, and things to do with the books, and people who have all sorts of, they're not human, and they've got different powers to ours, and absolutely fascinating. So yeah.
Right up your alley.
Right up my alley, yeah, but she does it really, really well, and some of her sentences are just beautiful.
600 odd pages. How long did it take you to read that?
It's actually taking a while, because you have to concentrate, because it's got quite a complex plot.
Yeah.
So it's a good sort of brain workout.
3 great books, again, available from Wardini Books in Havelock North and in Napier. And what else you got? You got a Facebook page?
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel, and we're online, so we've got websites for both the shops in which you can shop.
My God, you're amazing.
Thanks. I won't deny it.
As always, our pleasure. Look after yourself. Talk to the same time, same place next week.
Thanks, Ken.